This video is designed to help you start a diagnostic laboratory business. At the end of the video, you'll find a valuable gift. It's a diagnostic laboratory business plan that you can download, and will lay down for you, step by step, everything you need to know to start a successful diagnostic laboratory business of your own. If you are new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. First, take the time to create a detailed business plan up front, one that addresses the difficult questions, before expending scarce financial and human resources. A good place to start is by researching the market demand, and identifying the business case for your new venture. Who is the customer? The next step in creating a solid laboratory business plan is to identify who is the customer. Startup laboratories will need to identify what products and services they are offering to prospective customers in the marketplace. But they will also need to treat their investors, for example the angel and VC firms making substantial upfront investments, as key stakeholders by delivering on the promises they have made, in terms of project milestones and product and service deliveries. Funding model and return on investment, ROI. In normal times, commercial laboratories with a recurring revenue stream would find answering questions about funding sources and return on investment to be fairly straightforward. However, we don't live in normal times right now. The current COVID pandemic has shifted demand across many sectors of the economy, including the lab sector, which makes these economic models and investment calculations more difficult. For example, demand for clinical healthcare testing, including COVID virus and vaccine trials testing, is up, while demand in other areas, such as petroleum well testing, is down. This puts additional pressure on lab startups to identify viable funding sources, to support the business after the initial funding runs out, by signing long-term customer contracts, obtaining multi-phase government research grants, or pursuing direct sales opportunities, such as direct sales of home testing kits sold to consumers over the internet. It also puts greater pressure on controlling costs, and justifying expenditures. Fortunately, there are clever, cost-effective solutions available, such as efficient storage and flexible furniture options, such as mobile carts, that can help you get the most use out of your available square footage, while maximizing ROI at the same time. Some lab startups may also benefit from taking advantage of local startup accelerators, which offer shared workspaces during the early venture stages. Facilities. Now that we've identified the business case, the customer, and the funding sources, it's time for the facility project managers to begin working with the architects and designers to develop a list of architectural programming requirements for the new laboratory. One useful piece of advice: avoid reinventing the wheel. There are many well-documented laboratory designs that can provide inspiration for your projects. Evaluate as many as you can, to identify what would work for you and what you'd like to do differently. Another useful resource is the publication, Forensic Science Laboratories, Handbook for Facility Planning, Design, Construction, and Relocation. Published by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. While, as the title suggests, its focus is forensic science laboratories, it clearly documents a set of best practices for managing laboratory construction projects. From a design perspective, laboratory facilities generally include one or more of these components. Wet labs. In the language of laboratory design, wet labs are the areas that handle liquid chemicals. Designers need to pay particular attention to specifying chemically resistant surfaces, a sufficient number of wet sinks, often with their own special waste handling drainage system, as well as fume hoods, to protect workers from potential exposure to noxious gases, or dangerous particulates. Dry labs, tech labs. The term dry lab traditionally refers to laboratory zones that handle dry chemicals in small amounts. Thanks to the revolution in scientific computing, however, the role of dry labs has expanded tremendously over the past few decades, to incorporate computer systems as well. This has led to the rise of the tech lab, where lab researchers access and manage computer workstations, or provide IT services to the organization. Computer systems can be a major source of heat, so these areas will usually need beefed-up HVAC systems. Redundant power systems, such as backup generators or batteries, are also typically required. Laboratory clean rooms. An increasing number of laboratories, such as those supporting the manufacture of printing microelectronics onto silicon wafers, require the use of clean rooms, to prevent microparticles from contaminating surfaces, or to protect lab personnel from dangerous pathogens. Electronics labs. Microelectronics can be damaged by even small amounts of electricity, such as static shocks. Laboratories engaged in prototyping and testing electronic equipment Need to be equipped with anti-electrostatic discharge (ESD) systems to prevent inadvertent damage to electronic equipment. The next part of the video is not specific to a diagnostic laboratory business. Nevertheless, this knowledge is essential for success in the diagnostic laboratory business, as well as in any other business. Ignore it at your own peril. Operating a successful diagnostic laboratory business will depend on the following 4 conventions. 1. A practical plan, with a solid foundation. 2. Dedication, and willingness to sacrifice, to reach your goal. 3. Technical skills. 4. Basic knowledge of management, finance, record keeping and market analysis. As a new owner, you will need to master these skills and techniques if your business is to be successful. Finding a niche. Small businesses range in size from a manufacturer, with many employees, and millions of dollars in equipment, to the lone window washer, with a bucket and a sponge. Obviously, the knowledge and skills, required for these two extremes, are far apart, but for success they have one thing in common. Each has found a business niche, and is filling it. The most critical problems you will face, in your early planning, will be to find your niche, and determine the feasibility of your idea. Get into the right business at the right time, is very good advice, but following that advice may be difficult. Many entrepreneurs plunge into a business venture, so blinded by the dream, that they fail to thoroughly evaluate its potential. Is your business idea feasible? Before you invest time, effort, and money, the following exercise will help you separate sound ideas from those bearing a high potential for failure. Identify and briefly describe the business you plan to start. Identify the product or service you plan to sell. Answering yes to any of the following 3 questions means you are on the right track. A negative answer to all of them means the road ahead could be rough. 1. Does your product or service satisfy an unfilled need? 2. Will your product or service serve an existing market in which demand exceeds supply? 3. Will your product or service be competitive based on its quality, selection, price, or location? Market analysis. For a small business to be successful, the owner must know the market. To learn the market, you must analyze it, a process that takes time and effort. You don't have to be a trained statistician to analyze the marketplace, nor does the analysis have to be costly. Analyzing the market is a way to gather facts about potential customers, and to determine the demand for your product or service. The more information you gather, the greater your chances of capturing a segment of the market. Know the market before investing your time and money in any business venture. The following questions will help you collect the information necessary to analyze your market, and determine if your product or service will sell. This brief exercise will give you a good idea of the kind of market planning you need to do. An answer of no to any of the questions indicates a weakness in your plan, so do your research until you can answer each question with a yes. 1. Do you know who your customers will be? 2. Do you understand their needs and desires? 3. Do you know where they live? 4. Will you be offering the kind of products or services that they will buy? 5. Will your prices be competitive in quality and value? 6. Will your promotional program be effective? 7. Do you understand how your business compares with your competitors? 8. Will your business be conveniently located for the people you plan to serve? 9. Will there be adequate parking facilities for the people you plan to serve? Planning your startup. The following questions are grouped according to function. They are designed to help you prepare for opening day. Merchandise. Have you decided what items you will sell or produce, or what services you will provide? Have you made a merchandise plan, based upon estimated sales, to determine the amount of inventory you will need to control purchases? Have you found reliable suppliers, who will assist you in the startup? Have you compared the prices, quality, and credit terms of suppliers? Business records. Are you prepared to maintain complete records of sales, income and expenses, accounts payable, and receivables? Have you determined how to handle payroll records, tax reports, and payments? Do you know what financial reports should be prepared, and how to prepare them? Finances. A large number of small businesses fail each year. There are a number of reasons for these failures, but one of the main reasons is insufficient funds. Too many entrepreneurs try to start and operate a business without sufficient capital, money. To avoid this dilemma, you can review your situation by analyzing the following 3 questions. 1. How much money do you have? 2. How much money will you need to start your business? 3. How much money will you need to stay in business? In order to answer the second question, how much money will you need to start your business? You need to prepare an estimate of all your startup costs. Here's a list of items you may need to take into account. Note that this list is for a retail business. Items will vary for service, construction, manufacturing or online firms. Decorating and remodeling, fixtures and equipment, installing fixtures and equipment, services and supplies, beginning inventory cost, legal, professional fees, licenses and permits, telephone utility deposits, insurance, signs, advertising for opening, unanticipated expenses. Now, the answer to the third question, how much money will you need to stay in business? Must be divided into two parts, immediate costs, and future costs. From the moment the door to your new business opens, a certain amount of income may come in. However, this income should not be projected in your operating expenses. You will need enough money available to cover costs for at least the first 3 months of operation. The following list will help you project your operating expenses on a monthly basis. Typical expenses for 1 month may include your living costs, employee wages, rent, advertising, supplies, utilities, insurance, taxes, maintenance, delivery, transportation, miscellaneous. Now sum up the total estimated monthly expenses and multiply it by 3. This is the amount of cash you will need to cover operating expenses for 3 months. Deposit this amount in a savings account before opening your business. Use it only for those purposes listed in the above list, because this money will ensure that you will be able to continue in business during the crucial early stages. By adding the total startup costs to the total expenses for 3 months, you can learn what the estimated costs will be to start and operate your business for 3 months. By subtracting the totals of the lists from the cash available, you can determine the amount of additional financing you may need, if any. Now you will need to estimate your operating expenses for the first year after startup. The first step in determining your annual expenses is to estimate your sales volume, month by month. Next, determine the cost of sales. You may want to use a spreadsheet to do this. After startup, the primary source of revenue in your business will be from sales, but your sales will vary from month to month because of seasonal patterns and other factors. It is important to determine if your monthly sales will produce enough income to pay each month's bills. An estimated cash flow projection will show if the monthly cash balance is going to be subject to such factors as the following: failure to recognize seasonal trends, excessive cash taken from the business for living expenses, too rapid expansion, and slow collection of accounts if credit is extended to customers. Conclusion: if you have carefully answered all the questions in this video, you have seriously thought about your goal. However, there may be some things you may feel you need to know more about. Owning and running a diagnostic laboratory business is a continuous learning process. Research your idea, and do as much as you can, yourself, but don't hesitate to seek help from people who can tell you what you need to know. As we conclude this video, it's time you get your free diagnostic laboratory business plan gift. Go to the description below this video to get it now. It is completely free, no strings attached. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.